2002 National Electrical Code does not specifically mandate that non-metallic sheathed cable, often referred to as NM cable, must be completely isolated from metal truss plates. It's important to understand that the NEC provides a set of rules and guidelines designed to ensure electrical safety, and while it strives to cover a wide range of scenarios, there can be instances where interpretation and professional judgment come into play. The specific situation regarding NM cable and metal truss plates falls into this category. Instead of an explicit prohibition, the NEC relies on more general principles that could be applied to this situation. One crucial article to consider is 334.30 of the 2002 NEC. This section addresses the proper methods of securing and supporting NM cable. It states that NM cable shall be secured to structures by straps, staples, or clamps designed and installed so as not to damage the cable. Furthermore, these supports must be installed such that the cable is secured within 12 inches of every box, cabinet, fitting, or other cable termination, and at intervals not exceeding 4½ feet along the run of the cable. This requirement is in place to ensure that the cable is properly supported and protected from physical damage. In the context of metal truss plates, if the NM cable is not properly supported and secured, and if it is allowed to come into contact with the sharp edges of the truss plates, there is a risk of damage to the cable sheathing. This damage could expose the conductors inside the cable, creating a potential electrical hazard. Therefore, even though the NEC does not explicitly state that NM cable must be isolated from metal truss plates, the requirement to properly support and secure the cable can be interpreted to mean that it should not be installed in a way that allows it to rub against or be damaged by the truss plates. The NEC also addresses the issue of environmental factors that can affect the integrity of electrical wiring. Article 334.10 outlines the uses permitted for NM cable. It states that NM cable can be used in normally dry locations, which are defined as locations where moisture is not normally present. However, it also states that NM cable shall not be installed in direct contact with the earth or in areas subject to severe corrosive influences, unless the cable is specifically approved for such conditions. This is where the interpretation of whether metal truss plates could be considered a corrosive influence comes into play. Metal truss plates are typically made of steel, which is susceptible to corrosion, especially in damp or humid environments. If the NM cable is in direct contact with the metal truss plates, and if the environment is such that the truss plates are likely to corrode, the corrosion could potentially damage the cable sheathing over time. This damage could expose the conductors inside the cable, creating a potential electrical hazard. Therefore, an electrical inspector might take the position that direct contact between NM cable and metal truss plates in a potentially corrosive environment is not in compliance with the NEC. To further clarify this issue, it is important to understand the role of electrical inspectors. Electrical inspectors are responsible for enforcing the NEC and other applicable electrical codes and standards. They have the authority to interpret the code and to make judgments about whether an electrical installation is safe and in compliance with the code. In the case of NM cable and metal truss plates, an inspector might consider a number of factors when making a determination about whether the installation is acceptable. These factors could include the type of metal used for the truss plates, the environmental conditions in the area where the cable is installed, and the method used to support and secure the cable. If the inspector believes that there is a significant risk of damage to the cable, they may require that the cable be isolated from the truss plates. There are several ways to isolate NM cable from metal truss plates. One common method is to install a physical barrier between the cable and the truss plates. This barrier could be made of wood, plastic, or another non-conductive material. The barrier should be large enough to completely separate the cable from the truss plates, and it should be securely fastened in place. Another method of isolating NM cable from metal truss plates is to use cable ties or other means to suspend the cable away from the truss plates. This method is often used when it is not practical to install a physical barrier. However, it is important to ensure that the cable is properly supported and secured so that it does not sag or come into contact with the truss plates over time. In summary, While the 2002 NEC does not explicitly state that NM cable must be isolated from metal truss plates, the requirement to properly support and secure the cable, and the prohibition against installing NM cable in direct contact with the earth or in areas subject to severe corrosive influences, can be interpreted to mean that isolation may be necessary in certain situations. An electrical inspector has the authority to make a judgment about whether the installation is acceptable, and they may require that the cable be isolated from the truss plates if they believe that there is a significant risk of damage to the cable. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions about the proper installation of an NM cable. They can provide guidance on how to comply with the NEC and ensure that your electrical installation is safe. Now let's consider some specific scenarios and how the NEC might apply. Firstly, imagine an attic space in a coastal environment. The air is often humid and contains salt, which is known to accelerate corrosion. Metal truss plates in this environment are highly susceptible to rust. If NM cable is run directly against these truss plates, the inspector might reasonably argue that the salt-laden air will cause the metal to corrode and eventually damage the cable sheathing. This could lead to a short circuit or ground fault, presenting a fire hazard. In this case, isolation would be a prudent measure. Secondly, consider a situation where the NM cable is run through a basement with a history of water leaks or high humidity. Even if the truss plates aren't directly exposed to water, the dampness can promote corrosion. The inspector might be concerned that the constant exposure to moisture will degrade the cable over time, leading to potential problems. Again, isolation would be a reasonable requirement. Thirdly, let's examine a case where the NM cable is installed in a dry, well-ventilated interior wall cavity. The truss plates are clean and show no signs of corrosion. The inspector might be more lenient in this situation, as the risk of corrosion is minimal. However, they might still require that the cable be properly supported to prevent it from rubbing against the truss plates, which could eventually wear down the sheathing. Fourthly, suppose the NM cable is routed in a way that it comes into contact with sharp edges or corners of the truss plates. Even if the environment isn't particularly corrosive, the inspector would likely flag this as a problem. The sharp edges could easily puncture the cable sheathing, exposing the conductors. Proper support and protection would be essential in this case. Fifthly, imagine the NM cable is installed in a commercial building where the truss plates are treated with a rust-inhibiting coating. The inspector might be less concerned about corrosion in this scenario, but they would still want to ensure that the cable is properly supported and protected from physical damage. The type of NM cable also plays a role. Some NM cables are specifically designed to be more resistant to moisture and corrosion. If such a cable is used, the inspector might be more willing to allow direct contact with the truss plates, especially in a less corrosive environment. However, even with a more robust cable, proper support and protection would still be necessary. It's also worth noting that some local jurisdictions may have amendments to the NEC that specifically address the issue of NM cable and metal truss plates. These amendments could be more stringent than the NEC itself, requiring isolation in all cases or providing more specific guidelines for installation. Therefore, it's always important to check with the local building department to determine if there are any local requirements that apply to your project. In addition to the NEC and local amendments, there are also industry best practices that should be considered. Even if the code doesn't explicitly require isolation, it's often a good idea to isolate NM cable from metal truss plates as a matter of best practice. This can help to prevent future problems and ensure the long-term reliability of the electrical system. When in doubt, it's always best to err on the side of caution and isolate the cable. This can provide peace of mind and help to avoid potential problems down the road. One more thing to keep in mind is that the NEC is updated every 3 years. The 2002 NEC is now quite old and there have been several revisions since then. While the basic principles regarding NM cable installation remain the same, there may be some changes in the specific wording or interpretation of the code. Therefore, it's always important to consult the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that you are complying with the most up-to-date requirements. In conclusion, the issue of NM cable and metal truss plates is not always black and white. The NEC provides a framework for electrical safety, but it's up to the inspector to interpret the code and make judgments about whether a particular installation is acceptable. Factors such as the environment, the type of cable, and the method of installation all play a role in this determination. When in doubt, it's always best to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to get their expert opinion. They can help you to comply with the NEC and ensure that your electrical installation is safe and reliable. Additionally, Article 110.12 addresses neat and workmanlike manner, which requires electrical work to be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner, which could also relate to the installation of NM cable. The installation should not damage the cable and should present a clean and organized appearance. This could also be used as a reason to fail an install if the NM cable is not properly supported and is in contact with metal truss plates. The inspector may deem that the installation is not in a neat and workmanlike manner. It is important to remember that the NEC is a minimum standard. Many electricians and contractors will exceed the requirements of the NEC to provide a high-quality installation. The decision to isolate NM cable from metal truss plates may be based on professional judgment and experience, even if it is not explicitly required by the NEC. The inspector is in the position of authority. The inspector's role is to interpret the codes and standards and to ensure that the electrical installation is safe. The inspector's decision is final. If the inspector has failed the installation, the electrician or contractor must correct the deficiencies. This may involve isolating the NM cable from the metal truss plates. In some cases, the inspector may be willing to discuss the issue and to consider alternative solutions. However, the inspector is not required to do so. The electrician or contractor should be prepared to explain their reasoning and to provide documentation to support their position. The electrician or contractor should also be respectful of the inspector's authority and should be willing to comply with the inspector's decision. The best way to avoid problems with electrical inspections is to be familiar with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. The electrician or contractor should also follow industry best practices and should always err on the side of caution. If there are any doubts about the proper way to install electrical wiring, the electrician or contractor should consult with a qualified expert. By taking these steps, the electrician or contractor can help to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and in compliance with all applicable requirements. One area of the NEC that could also be applicable is Article 300.4, Protection against Physical Damage. While this article is more general, it requires electrical wiring to be protected from physical damage. If an inspector believes that the metal truss plates pose a risk of physical damage to the NN cable, they may require it to be protected, which could include isolation. The intent of this article is to prevent damage to the wiring from things like nails, screws, or other objects that could penetrate the cable. If the cable is run in a location where it could be easily damaged, it needs to be protected. This protection could be in the form of conduit sleeves or other physical barriers. In the case of metal truss plates, if the inspector believes that the plates could potentially damage the cable, they may require some form of protection. The level of protection required would depend on the specific circumstances. If the cable is simply resting against the truss plates, a simple barrier might be sufficient. However, if the cable is subject to abrasion or other types of physical stress, a more robust form of protection may be necessary. It's also worth noting that the NEC allows for some flexibility in how these requirements are met. The code doesn't specify exactly what type of protection is required in every situation. It's up to the inspector to determine what is necessary to ensure the safety of the installation. This flexibility can be both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, it allows for creativity and innovation in how electrical systems are designed and installed. On the other hand, it can lead to disagreements between electricians and inspectors about what is required. One of the best ways to avoid these disagreements is to communicate with the inspector early in the project. If you have any questions about how the code applies to a particular situation, ask the inspector for clarification. It's much better to get the inspector's input before you start the work than to have to redo it later. Another important thing to remember is that the NEC is not a design manual. It's a set of minimum safety standards. Just because something is allowed by the code doesn't mean it's the best way to do it. In many cases, it's a good idea to exceed the requirements of the code to provide a higher level of safety and reliability. For example, even if the code doesn't require you to isolate an NEC cable from metal truss plates, you might choose to do so anyway as a matter of best practice. The NEC is constantly evolving to keep up with new technologies and changing safety concerns. It's important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the code to ensure that your electrical work is safe and compliant. You can do this by attending training courses, reading industry publications, and participating in online forums. If there are any open splices, this would be a safety hazard. Article 314.16 talks about conductor fill, so the box that the wiring is in should not be overfilled.